Hey everyone, Padarino here, and welcome back for another video. This one will be focused on what's really important in this game. So I do believe that you already know the game. It's mostly a war game, and it's actually a war game with a lot of strategy compared to a lot of other games that look like this one. Pure number raw force will sometimes amount to absolutely nothing. You can have a lot of different factors that will modify the outcome of the battle. And you will have to understand a lot in order to be able to actually become strong, kind of regardless of how much money you will put in this game. This game is obviously, as all game of this kind, a pay to win, but you can completely, and it's perfectly fine to play this game with absolutely zero money. I have quite a few people in my alliance that did not spend a dime and that are still getting quite strong and able to achieve a lot. The main difference that will come between spending money or not is the amount of time it will take you to get to some place. But you can spend some money and be lazy and still take some time, or invest it in the wrong place and actually be weaker than someone who hasn't paid anything and done everything by hand. And I've seen a lot of this in my alliance. We have a Discord. I think I might put the link in the description at some point. If some people are interested, you'll let me know in the comments, where I have quite a huge guide on there, and it helped quite a few people to be able to improve a lot without much, in fact. Um, so the first thing we need to talk about is tacticians, because in this game, the most important thing that will define the outcome of a battle are the tacticians, and then it's the research, and then it's the ships themselves. The ships only come in the third place. So obviously, if like you have something extremely strong like the best tier ship and put the worst tactician on it, it will still be able to do something against much weaker opponents. But if you take someone that have roughly the same power level as you, even though power doesn't mean much in this game, like you can see here, for instance, 3,500,000,000 power, it can be a lot and it can also be nothing. It depends where this power resides. So if you take someone that has about the same ships, the same upgrades than you, it will mostly be the tacticians that will determine the outcome of battle, and it can change drastically everything. Why is that? What are tacticians? What do they do? What do they actually do? Because some of you might find this a bit obscure, a bit hard to understand and to really get in the full depth of what they do and what are their capabilities. And we're gonna go through it right now. So a tactician has skills, and this is about the only thing that matters, because a tactician would also grant you a few raw stats. So for instance, when you upgrade a tactician, I will show you on some low level tactician, when you upgrade them, you can see that and I think I need to, yes, to take out this skip effect. You can see right there that it gives some raw stats, some ship versus ship power, some ship versus pirate power, extra. These statistics are kind of garbage, at least at this level. It's really not that important. So that's not what your tacticians do. They don't simply boost the characteristics of your ship, because these numbers are ridiculously low. What these tacticians actually do is that they allow your ships to do some specific actions during a fight. So if you put a ship without any tactician on it, the only thing that the ship will do is attack once an enemy every bit of time, like every few seconds. It will shoot one bullet. Maybe it will reach the target, maybe it will even miss the target. It's tough to say. It depends on your own upgrades and mostly the enemy's upgrades. And it won't do much. It will use the base stats of the ships, and even for the best of ships, the base stats aren't really huge. So what these tacticians will do, sorry, I need to take that out in order to access easily this tab. So they will use skills, and the skills are actions that your ship will do. Most of these actions imply attacking an enemy, but not only. Sometimes you have some passive abilities, like this one, for instance, which says, when accompanying Elizabeth I, every turn when attacking restores stamina. So what does it mean? What stamina? And there are a lot of questions about that I will try to answer. It would be way too long for one video, especially since I try to do some... let me check that the recording is... Yes, it's actually on. Good. I will try to do some 20 minutes, not much more than this, so I won't be able to go through everything in one video, but I'll maybe make a couple about the tacticians. So let's go with the first skill, which is one of the easiest to understand. Attack one enemy ship and prevent durability recover for one turn. Also remove one buff from the target. So attack one enemy ship. Well, it will only... the ship on which Wheel Turner is will only shoot one bullet when the ship uses the first skill of Wheel Turner. This I will show you directly in combat what this is about, and maybe it will be a bit more clear. So during a combat you have multiple turns, and each turn I will take off the tactician first so that you can see what a ship does without any tactician. So let me go through a really easy step there, because a ship without tactician is quite garbage. I'm not even sure that I can clean that, but let's see. So you will see during this fight, my ship will be on the left hand side, and you will be able to see the number of turns at the top of the screen. So it starts at turn 0, and you see my ship fires one bullet, which hits for about 9k, 9.5ks. And it's not even every turn that he does it. It depends on the attack speed and also a bit on the stamina, but stamina are much more used for tacticians. I will talk about it a bit later. It's sometimes really hard to grasp what stamina is in battle, and it's a really key feature. So I won't let you watch all of this, but as you can see, it's really slow. The ship doesn't do much. It just attacks once every like 2 or 3 turns and takes damage and doesn't do anything about it. You can see that sometimes he takes additional damage. It has some reduced armor, like you can see right there, armor decrease. This is because the enemy tacticians are using skills, and these skills are affecting them. They are giving them buff, like you can see ship versus ship power that increases, bombardment speed that increases, and all that stuff. So we don't need to go through all the way of this replay. It will be quite boring because nothing much happens. So let me get this ship back, and now let me show you the exact same fight but with William Turner as a tactician. So before Before starting the fight, let me go through all 4 skills of Will Turner. So the first one makes him attack one ship and prevents this ship from recovering durability. The durability recover is a heal, basically, for your ships. The durability of your ships decreases during the fight because they take damage from the enemies. And there are some tacticians. Let me show you, for instance, Elizabeth Victoria Land, for instance. This ability restores durability for one of my ships. So every time she uses this ability, one of my ships regains HP. What this skill from William Turner does is that it prevents an enemy from recovering durability for 1 turn. So it can be pretty useful during a fight. The second ability, this time, attacks multiple ships, 5 ships at a time. And it deals damage proportional to the max durability of my ship. So of course the damage will be according to my ship versus ship power, but also according to the max durability. The more durability my ship has, the most damage output this ability will have. And it also reduces the target's ship versus ship power for 1 turn. So the enemy will attack me for a less important amount. And it deals powerful additional damage if the target is taking continuous damage. Some tacticians apply continuous damage to the enemy. For instance, Elizabeth Swann does a lot, and this is why she combos very well with Will Turner, and this is Laura Cred because they're lovers in the actual Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Oh, I might have made a little gear mistake there. Sorry for this. Afterwards, the third skill, he attacks 3 enemy ships. He removes all debuffs and he prevents the targets from receiving buffs for 2 turns. And also, if the target is taking continuous damage, deals additional damage, same as the second ability. So this tactician, as you can see, it deals a lot of damage, it can attack multiple ships, and it prevents a lot of things from the enemy. It prevents the enemy from recovering durability, and it prevents them from receiving buff. So this is what we could call a very aggressive tactician. He will inflict a lot of damage on a lot of enemy ships, and he will prevent them from receiving help. The last skill is actually extremely important. It's that when he accompanies Elizabeth Swann, every turn when he attacks, he restores stamina. What is stamina? Stamina in battle is something that you can't see anywhere. It's a number that you won't be able to access, but it helps your tacticians use their ability more often. Like every time a tactician uses an ability, it costs stamina. And before he can cast another ability, he needs to replenish stamina. So they all regain passive stamina every turn, but there are some tacticians that help them recover stamina faster, and it makes them use more of their abilities. For instance, let's say that the first ability costs 1 stamina, well, the second one costs 3 stamina, and the third one costs between 3 and 5 stamina. So these aren't real numbers. I don't know the numbers. It's impossible to really check them. But this is kind of accurate because Will Turner will use a lot more his first skill than his other 2. And this is true for every tactician. They will use their first skill much, much more. So the first skill is always or almost always weaker than the other skills that a tactician possesses. So now let's see in a fight, and I will actually attack an enemy much more. Well, let me first show you on the very same enemy. You will see the fight will not look the same at all. I might even end the fight in 1 blow, depending on what ability Will Turner decides to use. But he will do much more damage, he will attack more often, and as you can see, exactly, he attacks all 5 at once, and he sinks them instantly. This is the power of tactician. You see, it's the exact same ship as before, but beforehand, like I don't know, I think it was the 34th turn, and we were still fighting, and there were like still half of the enemy ships still alive. With the exact same fight, with the right tactician, the fight only takes one turn. It ends instantly. Now let's try with something like a bit more powerful facing us. The number 25. Let's hope that it lasts for more than one round to be able to see the usage of Will Turner's abilities. Yes, it will last a bit more. So as you can see, I reduced their power. I attacked multiple again, and now for a few turns he will only attack one. Until his stamina is replenished, he will only use his first ability, which attacks only one ship. And you see, he already restored some and was able, after 2 attacks, to again use one of the special skills that attacks multiple enemies. So as you can see, it's still a win, like it's an easy win with just one ship and a good tactician. This is like the tactician makes everything. Now let me show you the exact same 2 fights, but with a tier 1 or tier 2 or some low grade tactician, some bad tactician. Even among the tier 5 there are some like god tier tacticians and some very bad tacticians, even among the 5th tier. But like every tactician has a specific purpose. There are some that are very aggressive, others that are defensive, others that are made for the Mermaid Island attack. There are a lot of different orientations for tacticians. So now let me show you the same fight with a random tier 2 tactician, for instance. And you will see it will still be quite much better than the very first fight, which had no tactician at all. But it will clearly not be as good as with Will Turner. Let's see, for instance, the number 25 again. So the same fight that the last that we did with Will Turner. So let's see what happens. So first ability, you can see he only attacks one ship and the damage is much lower than Will Turner's damage, even though it's the same ship, it's the same stats. But Will Turner made this ship attack for about like 50k every hit, and this tactician only attacks for like 7-8k. So I will lose very hard this fight. So now let's have a look at what this tactician does, but you will see it will be much worse than William Turner's. So the first one is attack one enemy ship and decrease enemy ship versus ship power at 30% chance for 1 turn. So Will Turner had a skill that like attacked 5 ships and decreased the ship versus ship power at 100% chance, and it dealt a lot more damage. This is much worse. And the second one, attack one enemy ship and remove 1 debuff from self or 1 ally ship. Also, you or 1 ally ship immediately takes turn at 50% chance. So I don't know if you noticed, but this tactician attacked quite a lot. He attacked much more than the boat without any tactician, and I think even a bit more than William Turner himself. This is because of this ability, which allow her to sometimes attack immediately after her last attack. So this is kind of a decent skill, but it's like the tactician itself is completely useless compared to one of the good tier 5s. So roughly this is what tacticians do for you. They make your ship attack for more damage, they make your ships attack more enemies, and they make your ship do a lot of different stuff to the enemies. There are some really powerful skills, like for instance the Confuse skill, which is a skill that prevents your enemies from playing. Let me show you again. I'll show you with Samuel Parker Dark, which is a tactician that is clearly not bad and that has this Confuse skill. So here, let me find him. Where are you? You're right there. And I need to put back the right gear. So I will look at the level 25 again. Let's see. Let's see what happens. You will see that on the first or sometimes the second round, like there's a part of luck with that, he will use a spell called Chaos, and this Chaos will provoke some purple chains on the enemies, so it's not that skill. It's this one. And you see, all the enemy ships are blocked, and they couldn't play for one turn. They were completely prevented from doing any form of action. And furthermore, you can see that every turn he heals himself when he attacks. This is his first skill. His first skill heals when attacking an enemy. So I won't go through all the replay. You could see there for a brief moment that was a loss and not a win. Why? Because I didn't have enough gunpowder. So this is like a specific aspect that I will talk in another video, which is most of the time not too important. Most of the time it is not something that will influence on the outcome of a fight. I think this will be all for the first videos on tacticians. I will do another video on the tacticians, and then I will do some videos on the research departments, because this is, as I told you, the second most important thing in this game about the war on the ships. And the third most important thing will be the ships itself, and there will be a lot to be said about the ships as well. So hope you enjoyed, and see you next time. Bye bye.